Hello YouTube. I've invited you into the Tuperius household for a very special event today. Let's take a look around my kitchen and see what that might be. No, it has nothing to do with the coin collection. Nothing to do with homemade bread. Something to do with an empty coffee pot. Oh my. Here is an unopened can of Folgers coffee. The aroma seal still intact. Whenever you see something as beautiful as this, and you're ready to start a new pot of coffee, you must first break the seal. And that was wonderful. And then you enjoy. This has been a wonderful moment brought to you by the Tuperius household. Okay, now that we have our freshly opened Folgers Classic Roast coffee, let's make a pot. Now, I, Tuperius, am a coffee connoisseur, and I am going to show you the proper way of making the perfect pot of coffee. Some things you're going to need. Coffee maker. Folgers Classic Roast Coffee, or whatever particular brand and flavor of coffee you prefer. Hopefully not any crap flavors. Also, 1 scoop. Now, the size of your scoop will vary because not very many brands of coffee come with scoops in them anymore. So your scoop may not look exactly like mine, so bear that in mind. Now we get the coffee pot. Put it under the water faucet. And you do not want to use hot water for this. Very important. Fill your pot to the desired cup amount with water. And I like to do this a little bit more slow because A, it doesn't make as much of a mess, and B, I'm old and my reflexes aren't what they used to be. So now we're going to turn off the water because we are at the desired amount. Actually, we've got a little bit too much in there. I usually do the bottom of 12. So we're going to pour some of this water out while the starving children in Africa are crying. So we've got that right about 12. We're going to bring it over here to our coffee pot. Pour it in the back. And you want to pour this slowly to avoid splashing and making a mess, as well as pouring it in too fast after your coffee pot has just run could result in steam and water being spit like crazy. Okay, replace the coffee pot. Now, try and get your coffee as close to the coffee pot as possible. Open up your lid. Take a sniff of this coffee just to tease yourself as to what it's going to be like. And then you're going to get your scoop. I like it to be just a little bit above full. So slightly heaping. There's 1. Slightly heaping. There's 2. And if I were only making 10 cups of coffee, they would be level. Now you are going to hit the start brew. Your on button light comes on. And I like to push my coffee pot back just a little bit because there's space. Replace the lid to seal in freshness. And now I'm going to get my sugar. Lovely child art refrigerator. Gotta love it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this picture yet. This was my daughter's first Halloween. She went as a Pichu and I went as a Pokemon trainer. God, I was thin back then. But anyways, enough reminiscing. And now we're going to get into Tuperius refrigerator. with some fresh brewed tea, some cabbage, because we're making some fried cabbage later. We're going to move everything that's in our way out of the way, which is probably going to take like 10 minutes of this video. Oh, some juicy juice because kids. And here's what we're looking for. French Vanilla International Delight Coffee Creamer. The best of the best coffee creamer. That Coffee Mate stuff is dog crap compared to International Delight, or whatever the heck it's called. Yeah, International Delight. Okay, so we have our International Delight coffee creamer. We have our sugar. Now, all we need is a coffee cup. Now, any good coffee drinker will have a variety of size, shapes, and styles of coffee mugs. Like we have the Java cup, Donald Duck. We have the small Java cup, which is my wife's I'm a Moody Woman, which I like to use sometimes. Then we have the larger variety of cups for your people who enjoy cold coffee, which I'm not one of those. But today, I feel like an average size coffee cup. Even though it has Pikachu on it, it still tastes good. So, close the cabinet to avoid angry females. Pour in a touch of sugar. Not even enough to cover the bottom, because when you have French vanilla coffee creamer and seal, you always want to seal off your sugar after you use it, because just a little bit of condensation or moisture gets in there and you're screwed. Oh, silly me, I thought that this was not open yet. My wife must have had some coffee. You always want to shake this bad boy up, because the good stuff sits at the bottom, especially in the cartons. If you have just a small plastic container, it's usually not so bad because it gets used up fast enough. And now we're going to pour some of this in here. Just a little bit more than enough to completely cover the bottom. Will give you your desired sweetness and Frenchy vanilla deliciousness. And now we're going to put everything away as we wait for the coffee to brew. Now generally I do this ahead of time, because it gives the it takes about 5 minutes for a pot of coffee to brew, a full pot of coffee to brew. Give or take a little bit. But what I like to do for this is, because it takes a little bit longer for the coffee to warm up first off out of the brew, it gives your creamer a little bit of time to sit at room temperature, plus it gives it a little extra time to mix with the sugar. So it's going to be extra yummy for that first shot of Java juice in the morning. Alright guys, now we're going to let the coffee brew, and then we'll be ready to enjoy our first cup of coffee in the morning. Okay YouTube, as you can see by the clock on my coffee maker, it has been approximately 17 minutes. So as you can see, the coffee maker is still making some minor hisses and spurts, but I assure you all the coffee has been run through. Now let me show you something. This is very important to know when you are making coffee. That is at approximately 10 cups, maybe a little bit above. You have to know when you are making coffee that less coffee comes out than water you put in. So keep that plan. Now remember, we have our stuff pre-mixed, and I recommend that you put the condiments in the cup before you put the coffee, mainly because the coffee naturally stirs it, and in my opinion stirs it better and mixes it more completely. So now we're going to add our coffee, and like I said, when you put condiments in first, no stirring is required. And that would be the toast for my daughter. So we're going to put our coffee down, grab the toast, we're going to run this out to Miss Tori. Yep, here's your toast, kiddo. You're excused. Now, what some people fail to realize, and what some people do, is they get so jittery and so desperate for some caffeine, they will pound this as soon as it comes out of the coffee pot. I digress and say that you should rather take it to your favorite sitting spot. What's up, honk?
Nothing. My baby's
Oh, okay. And my daughter's watching Phineas and Ferb. And I'm going to sit down where I will be sitting for a little while my daughter's enjoying television. And that's in front of the good old AAX. So, I'm also enjoying this with some Little Bites fudge brownies because for the win. And now that we are comfortable in an enjoyable position, we're going to delight ourselves in a drink of coffee. It doesn't get better than this. Just the right temperature and just the right flavor. Now you know how to make the perfect cup of coffee.